You ever play Tarkov and just feel like you're lacking? Inadequate, maybe? Maybe you're just not getting enough penetration? Do your significant other teammates tell you that your caliber is too small, maybe? If only there was some way to get one of the biggest calibers in the game, fully automatic. Well, I have a solution for you. To FAL, and there's a message in there too. It's alpha because you need to be one to use it. Every time you load out this gun, it's mandatory that you load out with short sleeves because you don't need camo. You just need to show the guns that you use to manage that recoil. Alright guys, joking aside, let's get straight into this. We're going to go over two builds in this video. One's a long range, kind of intermediate, even practical build of the FAL, and then the other one is just if you want to be ultra Chad, full bravado, just overwhelming firepower, and just go stomp on people in factory. Alright guys, let's get started here with the more practical build of the FAL. So the very first thing you're going to want to do when you pick up one of these rifles is you're going to want to swap out this receiver for the extreme duty dust cover. The reason for that is it gives you this Picatinny rail right here, so then you can mount basically whatever optic you want on there. Now optics I'm not going to go into because they're super individual. It's whatever you like. I personally like running this Trigicon ACOG 3.5x. It's a little bit of a weird reticle I feel like, but for a gun like this, I want some magnification, but I don't really like the 4x reticle for some reason, and I don't know, I really like 3.5x. I just feel like it's like the right amount of magnification. So this is the one that I use. If you decide to use that, then you're going to need this TA51 mount to throw that sight on. Otherwise, it just depends on what sight you want to use. Throw whatever you want on there. Now, the build that I have, I went for a little bit more ergo on this one as opposed to vertical recoil. So the stock that I use is the Magpul PRS. If you're looking more for vertical recoil control, what I would do is swap out the Magpul PRS stock and use this SPR, the DSA SPR stock, and you'll see the recoil drops down to 112 from I think it was 133. You suffer some ergo, but if you're more worried about the vertical recoil, this is a pretty big drop. As for the grips, you really don't have any options, so just throw this one on. As for the barrel, I really like running the 21-inch barrel on it because you can keep the same handguard. You don't really need to mess with anything else. If you want to run one of the shorter barrels, you're going to have to swap out your handguard and you're going to suffer some recoil. So for the most part, I mean, this loadout is not something you're going to bring into factory or something where you're really anticipating a lot of close quarter stuff. So keep the bigger barrel, roll with a little bit less vertical recoil, and I think you guys will work out just fine with this one. If you take the advice and you do the 21-inch barrel, just stick with the standard. Do the DSA Belgian foregrip. It gives you a little bit more ergo than the Austrian version of it, so always go with the Belgian. If you don't like this one or you want to use a shorter barrel, then you're going to have to swap out to the quad rail. So this one's not working. Oh, I'm sorry, the shorter one's not working because this quad rail specifically for the shorter barrels, it's kind of silly the way they did this, but anyway, you can go with the quad rail, or the one that's really going to give you the best stats is this Victor CASV FAL foregrip. This is going to be the best one if you want to mount additional sights or lasers or anything like that. This is going to be the best one. You guys can watch the stats transition. I get a lot more ergo and it drops my vertical recoil a little bit. So totally up to you. It drives up the cost of the rifle, but I think it performs perfectly fine just with the Belgian one. So I stick with that. As for the muzzle brake, I like using the land tack. It's pretty much the same benefits as this Odin one, but it's a little bit more expensive. I just don't like the Odin because it's got that little bit more of like a satin finish on it. And I don't know, I like my guns to be kind of all black if I can, just kind of keep going with that theme. It's got to look good, right? That's the number one rule. Other than that though, I mean, this gun it's really an easy setup. There's not a whole lot to it. That's part of why I love these things, and they're so freaking common that it's so easy to pick up just a base FAL on the flea market for like 20,000 rubles, build this thing out. I mean, it's really not a very expensive rifle. All right, now running a gun like this, there's two things that I really recommend everybody remember. So the first is, again, vertical recoil. If you run a gun like this, anticipate it. It's not going to be smooth like your 5.45 AKs. It's got a lot more kick, but it has more punch. And that's the second thing, is the ammo. A lot of people running this gun or guns in 308 in general, they get super, you know, oh, you got to run the M61 ammo that's got the best stats and all this other jazz, right? And yeah, that's true, it does. Like the M61 is kind of like the de facto one of the best 308 rounds in the game, but it's also very expensive. So if you want to run an FAL, you're on a budget, or if you're running a drum mag and you really don't want to load that thing with M61s, use the M62 tracer rounds or use the M80s. They're not the highest stats for a 308, of course. I'm not going to try and tell you guys that's the case, but people get really lost or sidetracked when they look at ammo stats because they just start comparing it within that caliber. So even though an M80 bullet is not the greatest for a 308, it stomps almost every single AK submachine gun round out there. I mean, it's the 308 in general, whatever round you pick for it, except for like that weird Nosler one, it's gonna have more penetration and more flash damage than almost any other round in the game, and it's cheap. So off the bat, whatever you choose for a gun like this, you're gonna have a lot of stopping power. You just have to be able to manage that recoil. So don't get all caught up in, oh, the ammo cost and all this other jazz. Just use the gun, you'll really like it. This thing is great as a DMR, and when you get close quarters, this thing's so loud it scares people half the time, throws them off a little bit, and it's this thing is a monster. The only thing I would probably change on this thing if I start running a lot more, because I've been using it for a while like this, but the only thing I might actually do is go against my own recommendation and throw on like the quad rail or the Cas V, just so that I can get a cantered iron sight, because I kind of like those things when I get too close quarters. Alright, so on to my factory stomper, the Alpha Chad, or the Alpha FAL. This build is, it is not the best build out there, it's just something for fun. So build this thing however you want, but I basically made this thing because I just wanted to go into factory, I want to be able to hold down the trigger and just have overwhelming firepower and just completely dominate people. So the build you'll see is pretty familiar, right? It's got a PRS stock, it's got the same handguard, it has the extreme duty dust cover. I am running the 11-inch barrel on this guy, and the reason for the setup is the ergo. The ergo on this thing is freaking phenomenal. Now you'll see the vertical recoil is terrible, but this isn't a gun for precision. This is, I'm facing down a hallway and I just want to put rounds down there. So okay, so we got the Magpul stock, the same Magpul stock, the same grip. I swapped it to an 11-inch barrel, and that means that I had to get rid of the standard guard, so I went with the quad rail just because it's cheaper than the Victor Cas V, and I don't know, I like the look of it. All right, now with this quad rail, the grip that I like to run is this Tango Down stubby grip. There's absolutely other grips in here that will outperform it, like some of the Zeniths. It's up to you. I mean, the benefit that you're going to get out of it, I mean, you really run 4 grips for a little bit of recoil control and ergo. The setup on this thing, the ergo is just off the charts as it is, so then you're really just looking for some recoil control, which, I mean, again, it's not really much of a precision gun, but just go with the basic one that gets the job done. I'm running the same muzzle brake as the last one, the Landtac Dragon. This one, I do run a laser sight on it. I just do the blue one. I know people say, oh, but everybody can see it, but I want people to know that I'm coming. You know, it's kind of like when you're standing in a tunnel and the train's coming and you see that light, they got to know to get off the tracks. That's what this is for. And then as for the sight, this is just dumb. It's silly. This is a gun that is meant just to look good and do a good job, but mostly look good, right? It's just this is a style gun for sure. So I went with a cantered iron sight. The one that I really like using is the Burris Fastfire red dot. So I mean, obviously you guys have the extreme duty dust cover, you can throw whatever you want on there, but it's a lot cooler when you hold the gun sideways and you're pumping full auto 50 round drum mags of 308 at people. Always remember, style points count better than your KD. So anyway, these are my 2 FAL builds. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, found it useful. If you guys have any questions, you know, add comments down below. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out, helps the channel out. and let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Otherwise, up next is just some gameplay of the 2 different versions, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.
Не тварь! Вот хуй! Кепка! Вали кепку! Пацаны, да они сладкие! Ха-ха! Не ссытесь! Вон он, упы!
On 3, 2, 1. I'm standing up.
Wrecked.
Were you guys watching the stream at all?
Yeah, I saw that. Trying to loot us and then you guys both shot him.
Check the tags, make sure that was the guy.
Yeah, Speet.
Yeah, speed.
Shit wagon.
Holy shit.
Me.
Yeah.
I love this thing, dude. It's like the Thor, but semi-auto or full auto.
Пацаны, да он там совсем ёбнул! Валить надо его! Да ты чё там пиздишь?
There's a scav pushing up on you right now.
Блядь, стриж!
Damn it, I don't have any grenades. He's right here to the left behind these bushes.
Holy shit.
Alright, you ready to move?
No, actually, my legs are broken. One second.
The hell's that guy doing?
Where is he?
He's
dead?
We're gonna run up against him, but
Yeah, he's got a cowboy hat. I think that's worth money, right?
I think so.
Alright.
Hey, are you walking? Just moving over by me.
Are you?
Look away from the wall. He's over here by this tree, I think. Like on this little berm. He's laying down under a tree. I'm standing up right now. Got him. Dude, we were 2 trees away. Okay, what did you have, my friend?
Holy shit, he was right there.
Yeah, dude, we were literally like we were laying down holding hands basically.
Damn, bro.